In 2013, my first car, a 2001 Ford Mustang, cost $3,600. And nearly 10 years later, the Super 73 RX, a bicycle, costs the same amount of money. And if you compare the numbers, the RX does not stack up well next to my Mustang, especially when it comes to injuring civilians. Of course, I am aware that $3,600 is not worth the same then as it is now. But the point of this comparison is to illustrate the biggest deterrent the average consumer might have with these high-end e-bikes. They cost an absolute fortune, especially this one. And considering that you can buy a good, used Z125 for the same amount of money, some might say it would even be foolish to buy one. But life is short, and no good story starts with a smart, calculated decision. Therefore, after months of successful NFT scamming, I was finally able to put together enough Dogecoin to afford my own Super 73 RX. Well, simply put, the marketing worked its magic on me.
They really advertised it as a hooligan-style stunt bike. I think they were trying to persuade 24-year-old Danny Duncan fans not to blow their tax refund on an 05 Gixxer, but a 30-mile-an-hour e-bike instead.
And judging by the size of its community, it worked. With its edgy looks, cool name, and solid brand reputation, the RX is surely piquing the interest of the average disposable vape enthusiast.
Personally, the RX appealed to the motorcyclist in me that enjoys the adrenaline of a fun, wild, lightweight machine. And the 1970s retro dirt bike style of it really brings back a lot of warm nostalgia from those old On Any Sunday films.
It's pretty clear that Super 73 set out to get motorcyclists interested in their bikes, which is very smart. And, well, it got me on one. So then, what are you getting for your money with the Super 73 RX? Well, the most notable feature about the RX is the front and rear fully adjustable suspension. I really like this setup. You can adjust the rebound, you can adjust the preload. Overall, the suspension is really good and high quality. However, I do find that the rear shock is very firm. That could be because I weigh as much as a ladyboy from Thailand, about 155 pounds, so you might not have this issue if you're a heavier guy. Up next, you got front and rear lights. The front headlight itself is very bright. It does a great job at night. I was quite surprised by that. You have a 2,000 watt hub motor that has no torque whatsoever. We'll talk more about that later. A 960 watt battery. You'll get roughly around 35 miles on a full charge with just using the thumb throttle. And obviously you'll get more range if you use the pedal assist. You also get a horn that is as loud as an air raid siren. That'll give granddad some flashbacks. And then finally, you've got these big 20-inch wheels with these robust looking tires. Robust looking. I'll get to that in a second as well. And one gear. One. You also have the Super 73 app that I found to be pretty pointless. It's only really useful for turning the headlight on and off, but everything else you'll want to change or control is able to be done on this control module alone. So that's it. That's what you get. Coming back to the tires. I've had this bike for 6 days now, and I'm on my second set of punctures. I'm not riding this bike home after I'm done filming this. I gotta push it back. That's,
Bitch.
Yes, you can. And if it looks like I'm about to demonstrate it, I'm not. Because it's hard as hell. It's easier to shove a baby back into its womb than it is to get the RX in the back of my hatchback.
Well, when the tires are fully inflated, this thing is a ton of fun. Best toy I've ever owned. Even more fun than my hand grenade. I'm very happy I went with the RX instead of the cheaper models that don't have the full suspension. And the price difference between this and the R, which is one that is full suspension but does not have all the adjustability, is worth the difference. It loves to be ridden aggressively, and the riding position, the balance of the thing really encourages that style of riding. And like I was saying, the build quality of it just gives you all the confidence to give you a good thrashing. It can take it, and it loves it. The 4-piston disc brakes that come standard with this bike are also just phenomenal. They stop your advances faster than when she mentioned she's 17. While it is a ton of fun, there are some drawbacks, main of which is the hub motor, the 2,000 watt hub motor. It is a class 3 e-bike, so it can only do 30 mile an hour, and it has no problem getting there, except for the first 15 mile an hour. You've got no power at all whatsoever. The thing is that it's just got no torque. And for an electric vehicle, you want to have that. You want to have that pull. It doesn't even spin its wheels in the dirt. But the biggest issue with the power overall is when you come to a hill. If you don't have any momentum, the motor will groan, a hum of struggle, as if it's pushing a king-size mattress up a set of stairs. But the worst part about the Super 73 by far is the part of it that's a bicycle. It is the afterthought of afterthoughts. I mean, Super 73 only gave you one gear. What does that tell you about its expectations or capability of being a bicycle? The issue is, say you run out of battery and you have to rely on pedaling it without any assistance to get you home. You're pedaling all 81 pounds of frame, suspension, massive wheels, heavy battery, and it's awkward. Like taking a dump at your girlfriend's parents' house. And while I do like the riding position, it's just not ideal for pedaling while sitting down or standing up. The pedal assist on this bike is relatively simple. It's cadence-based, meaning that it just senses you pedaling and will give you a quarter section of the power. So basically what that means is that if you're on level 1, you get 1/4. You're on level 2, you get half. You're on level 3, you get 3/4. See, fractions, we're all learning maths here today. As a function, it works. Personally, I never use it. I just use the thumb throttle the whole time. I am a very lazy person, and this is a wonderful feature for a sad sack of shit like myself.
The S73RX is often compared with a bike called the Aerial Rider Grizzly. And if you look at all the reviews and videos comparing the two, the Grizzly is the clear victor in every category, including price. So why didn't I buy that instead? Well, to be honest, man, I couldn't get over the moped looks of the thing. It still looked like it would be ridden by someone that wore blue jeans and New Balance shoes, you know what I mean? Whereas the RX, that's a cool guy. I want to be a cool guy. The owner of the RX is the type of guy to have a fridge full of Coors Banquet that you are always welcome to help yourself to. So am I that shallow of a person that I chose a bike purely for aesthetics, over performance, price, and literally everything else? Yes.
Okay then, I've owned the Super 73 RX for 2 weeks. What are my final thoughts on it? I'll have to say, for the first week, I had a lot of frustration with this bike. And the question that was bouncing around my head the most was, do I regret buying this thing? Do I wish I bought a Z125 instead? And you know what, man, for a few days there, I did. I really did wish I bought the Kawasaki instead. And honestly, a lot of it was just down to the punctures I was having. That was just so frustrating. I spent more time pushing this bike around like it was a shopping cart for the first week than I did actually riding it. Like, I paid $200 to have these tires puncture proofed, and then the very next day I ran over a nail and completely flattened the rear tire again. I know that's not this bike's fault, but you get what I'm saying. It was just frustrating. But now at the end of the second week, I've had some more fun with it. I've gone out and really found what this bike is about, and I love it. For me to really start to enjoy owning this bike, you have to understand and accept what it is and what it is not. I walked into this bike expecting it to be kind of like a motorcycle alternative. And, well, is it that? In some ways it is, and in some ways it's not. I like to think of this bike as the motorcycle equivalent of a tribute band. It's not the real thing, doesn't perform like the real thing, but shit, man, you're paying less than half the expenses and you're having a good time anyway, so who cares? And that's the thing, once you understand what this bike is good at and what it is not good at, then you'll fall in love with it. The RX shines on an off-road hiking trail, man. It is awesome. That's what this bike is great at. It's just a lot of fun, and I can't wait to go on a lot more adventures with it. Super 73 has spent a lot of time building up its community, and yeah, I can't wait to join the Super 73 community, rub butts with everybody, and have fascinating e-bike conversations. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my review of the Super 73 RX. Comment down below what you think about the bike. If you own this, let me know your thoughts on it. Comment down below what bike I should review next, or what I should compare with the Super 73 RX. I love making these review videos. I've been doing them for a long time, and doing this whole thing again brought back a lot of fun and a lot of joy that I used to have doing this YouTube channel. So thumbs up, comment down below, support what I'm doing here, and yeah, I'll see you guys all next time.